Okay, I was at the east substation. I'll just walk through from the transmission line down to the breakers here at the sub. It's a 161,000 volt transmission line coming in on that bus bar, and then these switches that can be opened to isolate this transformer. On the right hand side, you come in 161,000 volts into that transformer, and it comes out the low side 7200, which we use on our circuit lines. And you see switches there with that red insulation. They've covered up all the bus bars, so try and keep squirrels from causing a problem. And that's your main breaker feeding this whole side of this bus. So if that breaker's open, those 3 circuits are all out, or 2 now. So that feeds this bus bar hot. So we come over here, and here's a regular breaker. It's an oil circuit breaker. That would be circuit R21 421 or our old 5553. Basically, it's just a 3-phase reclosure, but it's feeding that whole circuit, so it's a circuit breaker now. So it comes in off the bus here on the left, goes through the breaker. Those switches there would be our load switches. The other side, the source switches. Goes up to the overhead, comes out of the sub and takes off down the road, or 3-phase circuit. Now, come over here to 21423. Same way on the inside. On the right, you have your source switches. Out here, the load switches, and then it goes overhead to a dip. This underground wire goes across the sub and comes up right over here to our terminal pole. 2 runs of 750 come up the terminal pole. And then on this situation, we have inline switches. They're not quite as handy to open and close. And some of these, if they haven't been worked for years, they don't like to open and close. We got arresters standing up just to the right of the switch, standing up on them arms. It's lightning arresters. And then the insulators just to the right hand side of that inline switch are dead end bells. Insulate that from the pole. And then out here is my fault indicators. These are round black balls with a clear shield on the bottom, and when that fault has come through and it sees it, it's blinking. And these here, if the circuit operates one time and then heats back up, these will blink for 6 to 8 hours, depending on which ones it was purchased. That way, if you come here and you see that, you'll know it was out on further on the line. And I've put some out on switches on the line to help us isolate quicker. Now, those were inline switches on that terminator pole. You walk right over here to this other terminator pole, and you see that's got Z brackets and a different kind of switch. This is one of the terminal poles. We had a squirrel get on and lock it out just last month. Now those are your 900 amp switches on the pole with Z brackets. And then you see the dead end bells, which looks like big insulators on that last terminator pole. These are the new poly terminator or dead end switches. Dead end insulators, and that's what they look like. And there's fault indicators there. Run over here and we'll look at a different type of breaker. In the same sub, we had the oil circuit breaker that went straight to the overhead wire. We got one that goes to underground wire and then comes up a terminator. Then we have these in the building, air circuit breakers. They all do the same thing, show fault. See if them lights get going and we can see in here. Try and prop it open. Okay, here's a breaker. We can look in here and see our amp reads. The older ones, we can't see it digitally. Here's our reclosing on and off. We just turn that handle. And then if we have faults, they show up on that pad right there. But they all work about the same. They go from here out to terminator pole with underground wire.